Okay, let's try and get this Gore Tree into another map as simple and as quickly as possible. Should be able in around 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes with a little bit of cleanup, so very doable. First thing we have to do is you can copy and paste between maps, but it's very important that we copy and paste all the node trees at once. If you do it in part, you can get issues with variables that kinda get duplicated but still have the same name. It's not a fun situation to be in, so let's start by selecting everything. The quickest way is by using double click. If you double click on a node, it will select all the attached objects and nodes. So just by double clicking once, we already have quite a lot, and we can just keep doing that. This node is a special node. It also has a bit of text. There are a few objects that aren't part of any node trees, so it's easy to forget them. So I created these nodes just to select them. It selects the base, a blocking volume, and some other stuff, some smoke and some GIMP-like props. So we have quite a lot, but there are also a few things that I can't link to, and you will have to select those by hand. Those include the decals. There are two here, the pool and the spatter, and a bigger pool of blood right there. We have the launchpad destinations that we have to select. This is what actually starts the tree, so you can shoot it and it starts. That is this little tree, or you can press the button. Of course, you can replace the button with anything you like, so an item that you pick up, or maybe a trigger box the player walks through, or anything goes. As you can see, sometimes the highlighting disappears, but if you move the camera closer, you can see those things are still selected. So we have most of the things right here. Now we can select this entire node tree. This entire node tree. Now all we have to do is select this trigger box. There is a little bit of logic attached to it with a spawn point right there. So double click on this. And right now we have the entire Gore tree selected. So we can copy it. You can use the shortcut Ctrl C if you're on a PC, or you can right click and choose copy from the menu. You can see in the upper right, the copied selection may be pasted into any map. So we know that works. So right now we can edit the editor and open the map you want to paste the Gore tree into. I've prepared a little map for this. Just make certain you have a map with a little bit of space, because with all the node trees it takes up quite a bit of space, and once it's inside your map you can always move stuff in between modules. So let's right click or Ctrl V if you're on PC and paste. As you can see, the entire node tree is very close to the camera. You can't really work with this, so just press shift and use scroll to move the selection far away from the camera so you can actually see what you're doing. This is much better. So, alright. You see right now I can't place it because there is a node on the left side, right above the text, left shift manipulate, which is a demon encounter node. And that has to be placed precisely at floor level. The problem is that if you have a big node tree like this, snapping to the ground no longer works. So the best thing you can do on PC, I don't know the controls on console, is hold shift and use A and D for move up and move down, and just tap it, tap 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 tap. It's very finicky. There we go, it just turned purple. So now we can press space and we have our entire tree inside our own map. So that's cool. Let's take a window because it's cooler. Alright, so now it's time to check whether it actually works. It should work, but you never know. Always good to test. And then we'll clean it up just a little bit. Alright. Seems to work. Spawning demons. Good. Do we have an imp? Alright. And the death works as well. So, excellent. Let's go back to the editor. As you probably noticed, it's a really ugly trigger box here, the left back, and the demons initially spawn here, and then they get teleported into the Gore Tree. Now, you don't have to know how it all works, but of course it's nicer if this piece of logic is put into another module. It's also important because if a monster would walk and it would hit the trigger box, it would actually get spit out by the Gore Tree again. So you can get really weird effects and bugs. So let's fix this. What we need is a small module. Oh, there's already a small module here, so let's just copy it over with Ctrl G. It's actually part of the single player campaign template, so there's a bit of logic in here, but that's already in the original module, so we can just remove that. That logic is still in there. So now we can move this over. I like to keep this together so it's clear what it does. But if you only want to move the trigger box and the demon encounters, then that would be enough as well. But then you probably get some really weird node lines, so I always like to keep stuff together so it still makes sense, even after a while. There we go. You have all that logic copied over, so the demons won't be spawning inside this arena anymore. Well, you know what? I decide that this tree only gets started when you shoot it, so you can remove the button, and I will just move this to the side. Not that it's important, but it's out of the way. And for the death animation, for the gips, a Kako demon is spawned and instantly teleported and exploded. So that's where the gips come from. That usually happens so fast that you don't really see it, but I think it's better if it spawns inside its own module as well. Just so it has room to spawn, so there's no delay, otherwise really weird stuff can happen. So let's just select these nodes, grab it and move it over. Move it far away from the trigger box. No. There, so it looks a little bit nicer. There. Now the only demons that will spawn in this arena were demons spawning from the Gore Tree. So that is what we want. Let's remove these, because we don't need these anymore. Don't double click them, just only delete those 3 nodes. And now you have a clean Gore Tree in your own map. So let's play it one more time. I always wonder what it does when I'm looking at starting match. There we go. Still have demons. Still shouts when you shoot it. Let's see whether the death animation works. Not my own though. There we go. Right, and that is all it takes to get the Gore Tree into your own map.